Imagine losing everything and still becoming the wisest man of your time. Picture the freezing Roman winter, no wealth, no comfort, no safety. Only a young slave named Epictetus, a man so poor he owned nothing yet so powerful, he mastered everything that truly mattered. But what did he understand about money that even emperors would one day study? What mindsets could a man with nothing possibly teach about building a life richer than kings? Centuries later, Emperor Marcus Aurelius, ruler of the largest empire on earth, would say, "In my youth I sought counsel not from generals nor senators, but from a man who owned nothing, yet possessed everything." I remember the first time I saw him. His clothes were worn, his sandals cracked, but his eyes carried a wealth deeper than gold, a strength forged in hardship. Epictetus taught me lessons that shaped an empire, lessons about discipline, desire, and self-mastery. And hidden within his teachings are 7 ancient money mindsets that can transform the way you think, the way you earn, and the way you live. These mindsets were born in poverty, refined in adversity, and carried across centuries. Today, I will reveal them to you exactly as I learned them. Prepare to see money through the eyes of a slave who shaped an emperor. Money Mindset 1. Control what you can ignore. What you cannot imagine, standing in a world where everything can be taken from you, your home, your freedom, even your very name. Yet one thing remains untouched, your mind. Epictetus understood this better than anyone. Born into slavery, he owned nothing yet. He possessed the single greatest advantage any human can have: the power to choose his thoughts. And that alone made him richer than most men in Rome. Say it with me. Control what you can. Release what you cannot. This idea may sound simple, but it is one of the most powerful financial principles ever discovered. Even modern behavioral economists confirm that more than 70% of financial mistakes come not from the economy, but from emotional reactions. The market drops and people panic. Prices rise and people freeze. Rumors spread and people lose clarity. But not Epictetus. He understood a deeper truth. Wealth is not in possession, but in perception. Your financial life is shaped far less by what you own and far more by how you respond. When Epictetus had nothing, he did not fall into fear. He focused on the one thing he could always control: his mind. Marcus Aurelius echoed this when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Now take one breath with me. Let every financial stress you carry shrink for a moment, not because the problems disappear, but because you rise above them. Here's the truth most people never learn. Financial anxiety is often worse than financial reality. The storm is rarely the problem. How we react to the storm is what creates suffering. Epictetus refused to let fear dictate his decisions. He learned to observe emotions without becoming their servant, and that gave him clarity that leads to better decisions, calmer strategies, and long-term wealth. If he were here today, he would give you a simple assignment. Write down everything in your financial life that worries you. Then circle only the things you can actually control. The rest, let it go. Because energy strengthens what it focuses on. Fear strengthens the problem. Awareness strengthens the solution. And here's something fascinating. A Harvard study found that people who deliberately focus only on controllable actions improve their financial outcomes by 23% in just 1 year. Epictetus knew this 2,000 years before psychology proved it. So what is the real lesson of money mindset number 1? Master your reactions and your decisions will master your future. Or as Epictetus once said, circumstances do not make the man. They merely reveal him to himself. And if this is the mindset forged in poverty, just wait until you discover money mindset number 2, where Epictetus reveals why discipline is more valuable than income, and how even the poorest person can create wealth through self-command. Let's continue the journey. Money Mindset 2. Wealth begins with discipline, not income. Let me take you back to a moment I will never forget. I once asked Epictetus how a man with so little could live with such unshakable confidence. He looked at me not with sorrow, not with envy, but with a calm certainty, and said, "No man is free who is a slave to his impulses." At first I didn't understand, but the more time I spent with him, the clearer it became. Wealth does not begin with income. Wealth begins with discipline. Think about it. We live in a world where people constantly chase more money, more status, more possessions. Yet statistics show that 61% of lottery winners lose everything within 5 years. Not because they lacked income, but because they lacked discipline. Without discipline, money becomes sand slipping through fingers. With discipline, even a small income becomes the foundation of prosperity. Epictetus knew this long before modern studies confirmed it. Take a breath with me here, a reset moment, because this is where the mindset shifts. Epictetus lived simply, yes, but not out of forced poverty. He chose simplicity because it sharpened the mind. He believed that every unnecessary desire pulls you away from clarity. He once told me, if you want to be powerful, teach your desires to obey you. Powerful words. And true. He saved what little he had. He planned days, meals, and decisions with intention. He removed distractions so he could focus on what truly mattered: inner strength. Now ask yourself, how much of your life is run on impulse? How many purchases are made because emotions took the wheel for just 5 seconds? Neuroscience tells us that most spending decisions occur within the first 12 seconds of emotion. That means the battle for wealth is not fought in your bank account, it's fought in your mind. Say it with me. Discipline creates freedom. Here's a simple exercise Epictetus would assign. For one day, track every impulse you feel, every urge to buy, click, scroll, snack, or spend. Don't judge it, just observe. At the end of the day, underline the impulses that would have cost you money. You will be shocked at how small decisions drain your wealth one drop at a time. And here is the Stoic truth he lived by. Self-control is the real currency of the wealthy. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build your life action by action, and if each action does its part, nothing can stop you." Wealth is built the same way, choice by choice, discipline, layered upon discipline. Epictetus believed that if you cannot control your impulses, you cannot control your wealth. But if you master discipline, income becomes a tool, not a temptation. That is why discipline is more valuable than money. It is the key that unlocks everything else. And now as we move forward, prepare yourself for a deeper truth. Because in Money Mindset number 3, Epictetus reveals why true wealth has nothing to do with luxury and everything to do with value, value to your soul, your purpose, and your life. Let's continue. Money Mindset 3, seek value, not luxury. There was a day I visited Epictetus in his small, modest chamber. The walls were bare, the floor uneven, the air cold. He owned almost nothing, no fine furniture, no ornaments, not even a proper bed. And yet, he looked more at peace than the richest senators in Rome. I asked him, half in disbelief, "How can you live with so little?" He smiled gently as if amused by the question and said, "If it adds no value to the soul, it is a burden." Those words hit me like a strike of lightning. Because in Rome, even now in our world, people often mistake luxury for wealth. But luxury without purpose is nothing more than a beautifully decorated prison. And Epictetus knew that. He understood that real wealth comes not from owning more, but from needing less. Pause with me for a moment. Let those words settle in your mind. Studies today reveal something astonishing. The average person buys 60% more material items today than they did 20 years ago, but reports no increase in happiness. That means we are buying more, owning more, filling our space with more, but gaining nothing of true value. Luxury distracts, value transforms. Say it with me. Choose value over vanity. Epictetus lived it. He invested not in objects but in wisdom, not in ornaments but in understanding, not in status but in strength. Marcus Aurelius later echoed this when he wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself and your way of thinking." And he learned that lesson from Epictetus. The world will try to convince you that happiness lies in the next purchase, the next upgrade, the next shiny thing. But the truth is, this luxury satisfies the moment, value satisfies the soul. Luxury drains, value builds. Luxury impresses others, value strengthens you. Now let me give you a practical exercise, a Stoic challenge. For 1 week before every purchase, ask yourself 3 questions. Does this add lasting value to my life? Will this still matter to me in 30 days? Does this align with the person I want to become? If the answer is no, walk away. You just saved money, clarity, and energy. Here's a surprising financial truth. People who prioritize long-term value over short-term luxury increase their savings rate by 27% on average, according to behavioral finance studies. Epictetus lived that truth centuries before these studies existed, but his wisdom runs deeper. Value isn't just found in purchases, it's found in how you spend your time, your attention, your energy. Everything you choose either enriches your soul or burdens it. And he believed a burdened soul can never become wealthy. As we move forward, prepare yourself for a powerful shift. Because in Money Mindset number 4, Epictetus reveals how hardship, yes, hardship itself can become the secret training ground of the wealthy mind. What he learned through suffering will change the way you see every challenge in your life. Let's continue. Money Mindset 4 turned hardship into training. There is a story about Epictetus that very few people know, one that reveals the true power behind his teachings. As a young slave, he suffered an injury that left him with a permanent limp. A cruel master twisted his leg until the bone cracked. Instead of screaming, Epictetus calmly said, "If you continue, you will break it." And when it finally snapped, he said softly, "I told you so." Not out of arrogance, but out of acceptance. Acceptance of what he could not control and mastery over what he could. From that moment, Epictetus understood something most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Hardship is not punishment. Hardship is training. Pause with me here. Take a breath. Say it with me. Obstacles train the mind. Epictetus believed that difficulty reveals truth. He once said difficulties show a person who they truly are. Not in comfort, not in luxury, but in adversity. And this mindset remains one of the most powerful tools in wealth building today. Modern research supports this. 92% of self-made millionaires report overcoming at least one major life hardship that became the turning point in their financial future. Hardship isn't the barrier, it is the doorway. Epictetus studied hardship the way a master craftsman studies his tools. He watched how fear rises, how anger tempts, how despair whispers. But instead of being defeated, he used every challenge to sharpen his mind. How to stay calm, how to be resourceful, how to adapt, adjust, and rise again. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." And this was not poetic philosophy, it was survival. Hardship taught Epictetus to think clearly, to act wisely, to endure patiently. And this clarity became the foundation of his wealth, not wealth of coins, but wealth of character, decisions, and mindset. Now consider your own life. How many times has hardship pushed you to grow even when you resisted it? Financial struggles, unexpected losses, sudden failures. Most people fear these moments, but Epictetus would urge you to welcome them, because every setback strengthens your future if you train through it rather than run from it. Here's a practical exercise inspired by his teachings. Think of one hardship in your financial life right now. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this training me for?" Write the answer down, then take one small action each day that aligns with the training your hardship is giving you: patience, discipline, courage, strategy, or restraint. Hardship becomes powerful when it becomes purposeful. And here's the fascinating part. When you start viewing hardship as training, your stress response drops, your decision-making improves, and your financial stability increases. This is not theory, it is neuroscience. When the brain interprets hardship as growth, not danger, performance improves dramatically. Epictetus turned every wound into wisdom, every obstacle into opportunity, every struggle into strength. And this is why his teachings influenced emperors, generals, and scholars across centuries. If a slave with a broken body could transform hardship into mastery, imagine what you can do with your challenges today. And now, as we continue this journey, prepare for a mindset that reshapes everything you think you know about wealth. Because in Money Mindset number 5, Epictetus reveals that freedom, not money, is the ultimate currency. What he discovered will change the way you chase, earn, and value wealth forever. Let's continue. Money Mindset 5, freedom is the ultimate currency. There came a moment late in my studies with Epictetus when I asked him a question that weighed heavily on my mind. I was young, ambitious, and heir to an empire of immense wealth. So I asked him, "What does it mean to be truly rich?" He paused, looked at me with eyes that carried both suffering and serenity, and answered with a calmness that shook my understanding of the world. "To need nothing is divine. To need little is powerful." I didn't understand it then, But now, I see the truth. Epictetus lived with almost nothing yet carried himself with the freedom of a king. While the richest men in Rome were chained to their desires, Epictetus was free from fear, free from craving, free from the endless pursuit of more. And modern research proves this ancient wisdom beyond a certain point. Increasing income has almost no effect on long-term happiness. In fact, those who chase wealth without inner freedom experience 40% higher stress levels and significantly lower life satisfaction. Say it with me. Freedom is the real currency. Take a breath, reset your mind. Because what comes next may challenge everything you believe about money. Financial freedom does not begin when you reach a certain number in your bank account. It begins when you detach from the desperate need for more. Paradoxically, the moment you stop chasing money out of fear or insecurity, your decisions become clearer, your opportunities expand, and your life unfolds from a place of strength rather than scarcity. Epictetus explained it in a way only he could. Fortune may rob you of coins, property, even health, but no one can rob you of the freedom of your mind. And he was right. A person who needs little cannot be controlled, manipulated, or broken. This is why emperors studied him, because true power is the ability to walk through life unshaken, unafraid. Here's a modern insight. People who prioritize freedom over luxury are 32% more likely to achieve financial independence within 10 years. Not because they earn more, but because their spending aligns with purpose, not impulse. Epictetus practiced this by removing anything that created dependency. Luxuries gone, unnecessary desires released, attachments examined and discarded if they weaken the mind. This wasn't minimalism for aesthetics, it was minimalism for liberation. Now it's your turn. Here is a Stoic exercise for you. List 3 things in your life you believe you need to be happy. Then ask, do these things give me strength, or do they control me? You will often discover that the weight you carry is the weight you chose. As Marcus Aurelius later wrote, the greatest wealth is to live content with little. And this was not the thought of a poor man, it was the insight of an emperor who learned the truth about power. When your happiness depends on external things, you are vulnerable. When your happiness requires very little, you are unstoppable. So here is the essence of money mindset number 5. Freedom is worth more than fortune, and the less you need, the richer you become. And now prepare yourself, because in money mindset number 6, Epictetus reveals the foundation upon which all prosperity is built. Not assets, not money, but character. Let's continue. Money mindset 6. Invest in your character. Not just assets. Epictetus once said something so profound, so quietly powerful, that it would take me years to fully understand it. We were speaking about ambition, legacy, and the pursuit of a meaningful life, when he looked at me and said, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you must. At that moment, I realized he was not talking about wealth, at least not the kind engraved on coins. He was talking about character, the foundation of every fortune, the root of every meaningful achievement. Take a breath with me, reset. Let your mind settle as we step deeper into this wisdom. Because here is a truth few people ever grasp. Money grows only as far as the person earning it grows. Assets can multiply, but they crumble without character holding them together. And history supports this. Studies show that 78% of successful entrepreneurs credit their achievements not to knowledge or capital, but to resilience, integrity, and discipline, traits of character, not assets. The world rewards strong character far more consistently than raw intelligence. Epictetus believed this with every fiber of his being. He had no property, no land, no gold, but he invested relentlessly in the one thing that cannot be taken from any human being, the self. While others competed for wealth, he competed for virtue. Where others chased opportunities, he sharpened his judgment so opportunities would chase him. Marcus Aurelius later wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. Those were Epictetus' fingerprints on the emperor's heart. Now pause with me for a moment. Ask yourself this: are you building wealth faster than you're building character? If the answer is yes, then your foundation is at risk. Character is the compass that guides financial decisions. Integrity builds trust. Trust builds opportunity. Opportunity builds wealth. This is why people with strong character attract success even after failure, because the world trusts those who trust themselves. Here's a powerful example. Across multiple long-term studies, individuals rated high in conscientiousness, a character trait involving responsibility, reliability, and self-control, earned on average 40% more over their lifetime than those rated lower. Not because they were luckier, but because strong character creates strong outcomes. Say it with me. Build the person and the wealth will follow. Now here is a Stoic exercise directly inspired by Epictetus. Write down 3 traits you believe the wealthier version of yourself must possess: discipline, patience, courage, integrity, clarity, anything you choose. Then every day for 1 week, take one action that strengthens one of those traits. Wealth built on character is unshakable. Epictetus taught that a man who invests only in assets becomes rich for a moment, but a man who invests in character becomes rich for a lifetime. And this brings us to the final secret, the mindset that ties everything together. Because in Money Mindset number 7, Epictetus reveals the quiet power that turns ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. A principle so simple, so overlooked, and yet so transformative. Let's continue. Money Mindset 7 practice. Gratitude to expand your wealth. There was a moment, quiet, almost invisible, that changed everything I believed about wealth. I walked into Epictetus's humble room one afternoon. He was eating nothing more than a small loaf of coarse bread. No spices, no wine, no feast. Just bread. Yet the way he held it, the way he closed his eyes before taking the first bite, it was as if he were dining among kings. I asked him, "Why do you look so grateful for such a simple meal?" He opened his eyes and smiled, saying, "He who is grateful for little is prepared for abundance." That single sentence has more power than gold. Take a slow breath with me. Reset your mind. Let the weight of those words sink in. Modern psychology confirms what Epictetus knew 2,000 years ago. Individuals who practice daily gratitude show a 25% increase in life satisfaction and significantly better financial decision-making. Why? Because gratitude sharpens awareness, and awareness reveals opportunities the ungrateful mind never sees. When you focus on lack, you blind yourself to possibility. When you focus on abundance, you amplify it. Say it with me. Gratitude expands wealth. Epictetus believed that gratitude was not a feeling, it was a discipline, a way of training the mind to recognize blessings even in hardship. Marcus Aurelius, influenced deeply by his teachings, later wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is simply to be alive, not to be rich, not to be powerful, just to be alive. Because from that foundation, all other wealth becomes possible." Let me share something extraordinary. Studies show that people who practice consistent gratitude are more likely to spot profitable opportunities, negotiate better, and handle financial setbacks with resilience. Gratitude changes the lens through which you see the world, and a clearer lens leads to wiser choices. But Epictetus took it further. He taught gratitude in moments where others would collapse. Gratitude for a lesson learned. Gratitude for the chance to grow. Gratitude for the strength adversity brings. Imagine if you approached your financial struggles not with frustration, but with gratitude for the training they offer. How differently would you act? How much faster would you grow? Here is your Stoic exercise. Each night, write down 3 things that brought value to your life that day, no matter how small. A warm conversation, a moment of clarity, a mistake that taught you something. Then write one sentence, "I already have more than I realize." Do this for 7 days. Watch your mindset shift. Watch your discipline grow. Watch your emotional reactions soften. Gratitude is not passive, it is transformative. Because here is the hidden truth. The ungrateful mind is always poor no matter how much it owns. But the grateful mind is always rich even in simplicity. Epictetus knew this. Marcus Aurelius lived it. And now you carry it as well. So as we reach the end of these 7 ancient money mindsets, remember this final teaching. Wealth is built in the mind long before it appears in the world. Control what you can. Discipline your impulses. Seek value over luxury. Turn hardship into training. Choose freedom over excess. Build character before assets. And practice gratitude every single day. If you master these 7 Stoic laws, no empire, no market, no circumstance can ever take your wealth away. And now, before we close, prepare for one last message, a final reflection that ties all of Epictetus's wisdom into a single guiding force for the rest of your life. Let's finish this journey together. If you want to live with the strength of Epictetus and the clarity of Marcus Aurelius, like this video, share it with someone who needs Stoic wisdom, and subscribe to Making Life Better. You may not control your circumstances, but you can control the wisdom you choose to carry with you. And now I have one request for you. To show that you are ready to master your mind and rise above your limitations, comment the word unbreakable below. Because a Stoic is not defined by wealth status or comfort, but by an unbreakable mind.